Hey, this is DINOSAUR Pile-UP, and you are listening to and watching Linea Rock.
So, DINOSAUR Pile-UP, welcome to Linea Rock here. We wanna talk about you, about most of the things about your style. Can you explain us in few words how you will define yourself?
Yeah, I think we're like a alternative. I would describe us as alternative rock and hard rock and grunge. Probably like that's our sound. I think that's all the music that we were sort of brought up on and listened to as kids and stuff like that. So it's kind of heavy and alternative rock, I guess. Right?
You have been compared to Nirvana, to Quicksand, and to a lot of other alternative rock bands. Do you agree that you're flattered by the comparison, or you want to just be you?
Well, I mean, we are flattered by those comparisons because obviously they're great bands.
I think as kids we used to be a bit more worried about being sort of pigeonholed into sort of sounding like a couple of bands, but now, I don't know, they're sort of bands that we loved growing up, so we've kind of embraced it.
Yeah, I think obviously, you know, as we're making our own way, we don't look at ourselves as mimicking those bands. Obviously, we think of ourselves as our own thing and our own band and stuff. So we don't mind the comparisons. It's just I think eventually people will see us for who we are rather than other people.
Perfect. And on the latest day of August, your third album came out. And can you explain me, because I heard basically that this album is a bit heavier sounding than the others. So what's the main differences? What's so different about this one and your last ones, for example?
I think this one's heavier purely because we before making it, we toured very solidly for like a year and a half, 2 years. We were just constantly playing shows and stuff, and during those shows we just started to get heavier and heavier. We started to play our heavier songs. We started to make our not so heavy songs heavier. We just kind of enjoyed that more. And then when it came to recording the album, we recorded this together. The previous 2 records hadn't been recorded as a band, and I'd recorded it on my own. And then this record we recorded as a 3. So we were able to sort of capture the live energy that we have, like in shows and stuff, for the first time on record. And I think that made a much heavier record.
Plus we made it in winter. You can't make light albums in winter.
Yeah. We were sad and depressed.
That's true. If it rains, you can be so cheer up.
Yeah.
And what about your creation process? Like, you have to stop and work solemnly on your album, or you just do it while touring and while being around?
I think we throw around a lot of ideas on the road, on tour, in sound checks, in rehearsals.
Yeah, it's a bit of both, isn't it?
There's a bit of both because we kind of like, we'll throw some ideas around, and then usually when we go home, if we ever go home, but when we go home, like I'll usually take those ideas and like disappear for a couple of weeks, and then like write a couple of those into songs. So it's a bit of both, but usually definitely being off the road and having those ideas and sort of being away from everything like is very important.
There are any like focus inspiration for this album, or is just everyday life, what's happening in the winter, as you said?
I don't think there was a focus really. Like it's just experiences. The album is definitely not a concept album. It doesn't have like a theme. I mean, it doesn't have a theme, but then again, a lot of the songs are about sort of interpreting experiences and relationships and, you know, life, I guess, in a pretty broad scheme of things. So it does have like reoccurring themes, I guess. It just doesn't have one that's a current theme through the whole thing. Yeah. Does that answer the question? I think
Yeah,
so.
yeah, pretty much they did it. And you kind of already answered, but we can move it on the 1111 song. If there is any message behind it, or is just what it came up to your mind?
So obviously we get asked quite a lot what the 1111 thing is. And it's kind of a cool story because, so, I said that when we wrote the ideas, why the album was heavy was because we were touring for a year and a half, 2 years. So during that time, we were on the road and we were touring and we were sort of playing with some of the ideas that would later become the whole record. And we toured everywhere. We went through like UK, Europe, America, Japan, India. We toured like everywhere. And the whole time we would see 1111 like everywhere, like train platforms or plane gates or plane tickets, or the time we would land would be 1111, or like it was everywhere. So that whole time when we were writing those ideas that would later become the album, we'd seen this kind of constant thing of 1111 reoccurring. So that was why we named the album 1111, because it sort of was almost like the title of that period of time that we wrote all the ideas for the album in.
We have a costume of making a wish when you see the
Really?
same number, mostly on the clock. When you see 12, 12,
Yeah.
11, 11, you should
No way.
start doing it.
Yeah.
I already saw the video, the official video for this
Yeah.
single you made, and it feels like, it looks like some tape taken from
Yeah.
your everyday life put together. Do you have a line for your video style? Like, do you want to project an image? Also, the LP cover is really cool designed. Do you want to have a brand also in your style?
Yeah, I think we do, but I think we're still exploring what that is. I mean, obviously, what type of videos we make or what type of album covers we have depends on the songs and the material that we're releasing. So I think that sort of brand would sort of... we wouldn't change from album to album, but the brand, like what we're promoting, maybe would.
Because it's a bit of a snapshot of where we are at that time, I guess.
Yeah. So yeah, like Mike said, it's like it's what we're feeling or what we're into at that period of time. I mean, the video for 1111, all that footage, the tape footage and stuff, is footage from the time we were touring whilst we were writing the album. So we wanted that to be sort of in the video somehow, because that's what kind of accumulated to make the album and to make that song and stuff.
Like, you really, like, you did like a frame of that time.
Yeah.
So cool about that.
Yeah.
And what about the relationship with your producer? And do you have like full freedom of creation, or they or Tom Daggett, try to give you a way to do your things?
He definitely chipped in, like with ideas and
More than his fair share.
probably yeah. Like a couple of songs we went into sort of pre-production with started as two separate songs, and he ended up kind of encouraging us to stick maybe that heavier bit with this heavier bit from different songs to come up with a sort of more solid song.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think when we were also, like Jim was saying, Tom, when we went into pre-production, we maybe had, how many songs we did?
60?
Like a lot of songs. And obviously there was a lot of variation in what those songs were.
The album could have been sounding quite different.
Yeah, it could have been, due to what songs were chosen, it could have been a totally different album. But Tom was definitely, he definitely sort of led those decisions of what type of album we were going to make. He wanted to make a heavy album. So did we. But
He helped focus that, didn't he?
yeah, he was kind of integral in the decision making process, I guess. But like, we're good friends with Tom, and it was in many ways like most of the time it was like it was just like four friends, him and us, making a heavy record in a studio in the middle of nowhere, which was kind of fun. But sometimes we would butt heads. I guess that's his job,
Amazing. And now you are on tour, and you're working with Royal Republic.
Mm-hmm.
How is the relationship between the two groups?
It's awesome. They're really fun dudes. And obviously when we
We'll
joined,
tell you the real story after.
Okay. Off camera.
yeah. Obviously, when we joined the tour, it was we'd never met them before, and it's a long tour. It's a really long tour, so we'd never met them, and they'd never met us. So it could have been horrible.
Especially as we're sharing a bus.
Yeah.
So you're all in a very confined space for a very long period of time. So if there was any chance of clashes, it would have come out quite early.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we're
just
lucky.
because your personal space is like
Yeah.
this
It's
big
like nothing. Yeah.
with a curtain. So
Yeah.
imagine that.
But it's nice because we just get on really, really well. Like they're lovely, lovely guys. So are we. So yeah, but it's fun. It's a lot of fun.
Perfect. And about the life on tour, I heard it's kind of being a struggle in these weeks, but
Yeah, because we're ill.
yeah.
Yeah.
But do you love it normally, or I mean?
Yeah. I mean, we
That's-
love it now, even though we're ill. Like, it is awesome. I think some bands maybe don't like touring. I think we're lucky because we do, and we love being in each other's company, and you know, it's fun for us to be away together, like going to new places and stuff. And I think Royal Republic feel the same way. It's just, yeah, if someone gets ill and you're on a long tour on a bus, it probably means everyone's going to get ill. But
You share everything,
Yeah,
also
yeah,
viruses.
everything.
Whether you
Yeah.
want to or not.
yeah, yeah, but it's cool. It's fine.
Now I want to know a bit about England. You are from Leeds, aren't you?
Originally, yeah.
Okay,
Leeds, yeah.
and what about what England gave you as a musical background, and if England is all open and welcoming for new artists, or you find just we have Beatles, we don't want anymore, like something like this. How
Right.
is the reality?
Well, I mean, so originally I'm from Leeds, and that's where I started the band. And obviously Mike was from Norwich, and then he moved to Leeds, and then we moved to London, and I actually met Jim in London.
Oh, okay.
I guess, right?
Yeah.
I think like England or Leeds for me in the beginning was important because I sort of grew up in a scene. Like Leeds' music scene was really, really intense and very, very vibrant and exciting. And I think that was really important to begin with because I was able to sort of like grow in a sort of egg, I guess, you know, like a little scene of music and people and stuff. And then obviously when we started touring, I left that, and like me and Mikey started touring, and then me, Mikey, and Jim started touring. So then we sort of started to tour internationally and stuff. But I think that's, if anything, that's what's been the most important thing, like from England, is having those scenes and that familiarity with other musicians in England and stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, in terms of like how welcoming the crowds are and stuff, like growing up in Norwich, we used to go to a venue called the Arts Centre, which we'd always just used to seek out bands, no matter where they were from. So there was always that kind of culture, and then you'd share with these bands in the scene. And then I moved up to Leeds with Matt, and it was exactly the same. People were like, there's a venue called the Brudenell in Leeds, where everybody would just go and see all the bands coming through.
Yeah.
And it was, it was very welcoming, I guess.
Yeah.
So you were like in an environment where they look for new names and new faces.
Definitely.
Okay.
And you're excited to show everybody like new bands and
Okay.
Yeah.
what?
No, I was thinking about like how, in many ways, like things like Spotify, streaming servers and stuff. In many ways, the scene thing is still the same, but with things like Spotify and obviously the internet and streaming music and stuff, it does mean that anyone can listen to anything they want from anywhere, anytime. So I think like music, like how you were saying, does England support English music or, you know, whatever? I kind of feel like in many ways those barriers are being broken down because you can listen to anything. So everywhere is kind of in a way supportive of bands
like
from
maybe a
other
few
places.
years ago, Royal Republic wouldn't have been able to tour the UK as well, like do the same sort of size venues, because if they hadn't had the support from Radio 1,
Yeah.
they probably wouldn't have had the exposure. But now, obviously, online
Yeah.
means that you can. So
Yeah.
that's a good point.
Totally.
Okay. And tonight, is it your first night in Italy / in Milan?
I'm sorry.
No problem. Edit that out. Is it your first night in Milan or Italy playing?
It is for us.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, I've been here before.
Oh, wow.
Never to play, but I actually came about 6 months ago to go on a bit of a train trip.
Ah, okay, as a tourist material. Okay.
Yeah, it's nice.
And what do you expect from it? Tonight in Milan, and then you will go on to Bologna, Brunico, so you have a few days in Italy still. What are you expecting from it?
Good coffee and good food.
I hope.
We already failed you with a good coffee, with a vending machine, so next time we'll make it up. But
In terms of the crowd, I have no expectations.
Absolutely no idea.
No idea, yeah.
No. I think, like, you know, in many ways, that's what's cool about touring, because we don't know what to expect from the crowds in Italy, but we're just kind of stoked to be here, you know. So, yeah, I'm just kind of excited to be here and see what it's like and stuff like that, let alone play a rock show.
okay. And this is kind of a lame question, but I will make it anyway. What do you expect to be the end of your journey? Like, where do you see at the top? Do you want to be the big name, the new English rock material? What do you expect?
I mean, I would love that. So, I don't know. Like, we want to be able to create the opportunity for ourselves, I guess, to be able to do this, you know, for as long as we want to do it. And I think, therefore, that is about growing as a band and stuff. I don't think we
are ambitious. We're an ambitious
Yeah.
band. Like, some bands are really afraid to say, like, oh, we want to be, you know, headlining Reading and Leeds or, you know, big festivals. But that is our end goal.
Yeah. And I don't think that's being driven by, I don't think that's because we're driven by fame or anything like that. I think we're driven by, like, yeah, we're just ambitious to make this a long journey that goes somewhere exciting, you know. And I think that does mean being a big band. And like we've always been inspired by like little bands as well as big bands, but I definitely think those kind of headline acts when we were kids and stuff, that was like integral to
why we
us.
started bands.
Yeah, exactly. Like we saw those big bands like doing big shows and we were like, I want to do that. It looks really cool.
Yeah, sometimes it's enough that like the three of you at least have the same goal.
Yeah.
Not like I want to quit in a few years and
No.
then you want to be the next Rolling Stones. Like, okay, let's set it up.
Yeah.
Okay, amazing. And now for a little part that I kind of call weekly obsession. Do you have like some artist you're listening to now and maybe that is inspiring you, but right now, this week?
You were going to say something?
Oh, you've been listening to Puppy.
Yeah, I've been listening to a band from the UK, very small and new, called Puppy. Also, my favourite band from the UK is a band called Tiger Cub, who I think have played in Italy before. I think they're touring Europe right now, actually. But they're brilliant, and they're from Brighton. And they're just a really, really brilliant band. I think they're doing really interesting stuff. So yeah, I would probably say Tiger Cub.
For you?
Actually, weirdly, the band that are on tour with Tiger Cub in Europe, a band called D-Mob Happy from Brighton as well, are really good.
Yeah.
I've been listening to them a lot.
Okay.
And I've been listening to Drake's latest album, Kanye West's latest album. I made a playlist of both of those. And a classical Christmas compilation.
Yeah. I mean,
We were
those are...
actually driving out of Budapest last night with Christmas music on. On the bus,
So, yeah.
eating pizza.
Yeah, so yesterday was funny. We were in Budapest and we had a really late night the night before, and then Jim had sort of designed a tour in Budapest for us because we'd never been. So we took a walk together into town.
It was pouring down with rain.
Pouring down. So we got soaked. We walked in for an hour and a half and then we were like, we've got to go. So we got a cab back to the bus. None of us had eaten anything. So we searched the internet for a pizza joint that we could communicate with and eventually found one which took an hour. And then we ordered 12 pizzas to the tour bus, which took another hour. But eventually the stack of pizzas arrives in the bus from this guy, and we like pay him and get the pizzas. And then Mike, everyone, like Royal Republic and us, the whole crew is in the
It
bus.
just falls silent because everybody is just...
Is eating so much.
Like more pizzas than you can imagine, like everywhere. And then Mike starts spinning Christmas songs from like Home Alone and stuff, like old.
like classical
Okay.
Christmas songs, and it was
That's all.
perfect.
It was a perfect moment. Like no one was talking. Everyone was like eating these hot pizzas with these like gentle Christmas tunes. It was so awesome.
There is like nothing more wrong than obliging everybody listening to Christmas songs and not waiting 24 hours to arrive in Italy and have some proper pizza. Like you did it
You're
all
right. We've
wrong.
absolutely messed
We
up.
did say that as well, and the only other option was to go back out in the rain
Yeah.
Yeah,
to
no,
get
okay.
like Hungarian food.
That was a surviving thing.
yeah,
so
no one was up
you're
for it.
I mean,
so we had to.
by no means am I gonna not have pizza today. I'm 100% gonna have pizza.
Okay.
Just saying, I could eat pizza every day.
And probably someone will kill me to say that, but tomorrow you're in Bologna. That's even better. So
Yeah, really.
do that. And pretty much that's it.
Awesome.
That's it? Okay, thank you so much, Dinosaur Pile-Up, for being here
Thank you.
in Linea Rock.
Thanks.
Thank
for
you
having
very
us.
much.